morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you're watching me from. Thank you for joining me in today's live lecture, wherever you're watching me from Nkolo. Thank you for joining me from Nkolo Mahadum. Today's date is Oye Market Day in the 9th month of the Igbo lunar calendar called Onwa Ana or Onwa Ane or Onwa Ala, depending on your dialect. And today's date in the Roman Catholic calendar is October 22, 2024. At Nkolo Mahadum Wisdom University, we always encourage you to use your naturally given akonuche, which is naturally given common sense, which we call akonuche, to evaluate all the information you are getting before you make a decision. Remember, Nkolo Mahadum is an university where we package lectures for you, the lectures that you never know, the lectures that you never think about, and present them from Biafran and African perspectives. That is how the decisions being made far away, being made from anywhere in the world, whether at home or abroad, is affecting you and me. And that is why it's important that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter and Facebook, like our lectures, comment, and share it to everybody, because the lectures we are presenting here is for everybody. Whether you are a PhD holder, whether you are a professor, whether you haven't attended school before, as long as you can hear little English, because the reason we are presenting in English is to make sure that it reaches covered wide area around the world. The title of today's lecture is "The World Can Learn from Peace of Westphalia of 1648, so that every nation can have equal rights." The world can learn from the Peace of Westphalia of 1648, so that every nation can have equal rights. Remember that the Roman Catholic, the Roman Empire dominated the world for so many years, deciding what is going on both in Europe and around the whole world for so many years. And many nations started to fight, against their influence. And we want you to understand nations in Europe, in the land of Europe. Most of the nations that emerged in Europe emerged through wars. They fought wars to gain their independence. But in Africa and other cultures, it is the Europeans that drew artificial boundaries and called them nations. That is one thing you have to know in this lecture. In Europe, they fought to gain they fought to create their own nations. Most of their nations were created by wars, unlike in Africa and other cultures where the Europeans came and drew artificial boundaries. And what led to the Peace of Westphalia in 1648? What led to that Peace of Westphalia in 1648 was that the Roman Empire exerted, that is, have big influence over smaller states, which led to 80 years war and 30 Years' War. So the influence, the power, the Roman Empire is exerting, that is showcasing, or pressing others, or ruling others. The power that they used to rule was too much. That led to a war. One war lasted for 80 years, and another lasted for 30 years. And the war that lasted for 80 years was between the Protestants, the Christian Protestants of Dutch Republic, that is the one you call Netherlands today, supported by the Protestants of England. You know that the Protestants originated from England, so they supported the Dutch Protestants against the Catholic-dominated Spain and Portugal. So that war is between Spain and Portugal on the Catholic side, and then the Dutch and the England, the Protestants on one side. And that war lasted for 80 years. The 30 Years' War was the most brutal. It was between what they call Catholic League, which means Catholic League is a coalition of the countries or states that are governed by the Catholic Church, which was formed in 1609, coalition of Catholic states. They call Catholic League on one side, and the Protestants Union, that is coalition of the states or countries being ruled by the Protestants, also formed in 1608, which later became what they call Helibron League in 1633. And why the 30 Years' War was the most brutal was that between 4.5 million and 8 million people died in that war. And that was why everybody was tired and they needed peace. That is how the Peace of Westphalia was signed in two cities. It was signed in two cities, one addressing the 80-Year War and the other one addressing the 30-Year War. So the Peace of Westphalia was signed in Munster, and also in Osnabrück on October 24th, 1648. That's how peace returned to Europe. What are some of the benefits of that peace that returned to Europe? The Dutch became independent. France secured new rights in Lorraine. Sweden was granted control over Pomerania, Bremen, and Verden. The war, however, weakened the Roman Empire. It weakened the Roman Empire, and many states gained greater autonomy, religious tolerance, and equality of states. So because the Peace of Westphalia weakened the power of the Roman Empire, now many other people were given some breathing space. There were more religious freedom, because before you are not even allowed to choose you have to always follow the Catholic, the Roman Catholic, the Roman Empire's, whatever they say is what you will do. But after that, in that conference, every state was given more freedom, more autonomy, more religious tolerance, and equality of states. And that was how peace returned to Europe. So bringing this peace of Westphalia, and that's why Nkola Mahadum is saying that if the world today can learn from this peace of Westphalia that brought peace to Europe in 1648, our world will be better. And before we go into today, how we can learn from this peace of Westphalia, bring it to today's situation so we can have peace, we have to beg you again to please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our program, our lectures, comment, share, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and other social media platforms. Because what we are lecturing at Nkola Mahadum Wisdom University is what you have to know. Because if you don't have all these things that happen, all these killings from fighting between two religions in Europe, one lasting 80 years, the other lasting 30 years, with the 30-year war leaving 4.5 to 8 million people dead. I told you, Nkola Mahadum package lectures for you. So bringing this to today's lecture, remember, the world we live today is like we live in the world of wars. United States of America led the Allied forces to win the Second World War in 1945. And when they win it, they form the United Nations Security Council, and so on and so forth. So they are in the driver's seat. United States have been in the driver's seat. And also, the Berlin Wall fell in 1989. And the collapse of the Soviet Union, Soviet Union was very big before. It collapsed in 1991. And when it collapsed, United States is now the dominant power in the world. They are the dominant power, making all the rules, having up to 750 military bases around the world, writing the rules of trade, and so many others, including both regime changes, which they do in many other countries before the arrival of BRICS. The BRICS nations are looking for multipolarity. The way the US is going before the arrival of BRICS right now is what they call polarity. That is unipolar order, one world order, one global world order. So now, with the arrival of BRICS, which is asking for multipolarity, the countries in the BRICS includes Brazil, India, Russia, China, South Africa, Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia, and United Arab Emirates. And more people are coming to join them for multipolarity. So Nkola Mahadum is suggesting that the world go and learn from the peace of Westphalia to see how they can use it to bring more peaceful world today. Because if you look at what is going on, all the wars going on right now in our face, the war in Ukraine, the war in Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, Iran, and so on and so forth. The world is at war. Sudan, Ethiopia, even Congo. A lot of killings going on around the world. Can the US come together with the BRICS nations to make peace? To make peace so that the world can be peaceful, so that other nations can give them the chance. Because, like you know, the BRICS nations, they are looking for alternative means of trading, that they are saying that they're going to be paying with their own currency. instead of paying with the US dollar, and so on and so forth. There are so many constraints put in place by the US-led unipolar one world globalist order. And this is why the BRICS nations are waxing stronger. And Nkola Mahadum, in today's lecture, is asking the United States and her allies, those working with them, to go back to the Peace of Westphalia and see how it was crafted. Because the benefit of that Peace of Westphalia is that many people were given freedom to do what they want, to choose their religion, to know how to govern their states, and not only depending on the one from the Roman Empire. And you know, the United States is now the empire we have in this world. So it rests on him, on she, the United States, to find a solution by having a conference with the BRICS members to find a lasting solution to the world so that we can have a better, peaceful world. So the takeaway from today's lecture, because I'm looking at the time, is that the world today can learn from the Peace of Westphalia, which was signed in two cities in 1648 because of the domineering of the Roman Empire over other states, which led to 80 years war and another 30 years war. And the 30 years war killed between 4.5 to 8 million people. And before that, Peace of Westphalia was signed on October 24, 1648. And the benefit is that the Dutch gained independence. A lot of countries got a lot of stuff, became autonomous, have religious tolerance, religious freedom, and everybody became equal in the eye of the law. Because before, everybody is not equal. And we are saying that United States, being in the position of the Roman Empire in the 17th century, that is between that 1640 something, today, US, the current world empire, can as well call a conference with the BRICS nations to find a lasting solution so that the world can be more peaceful by allowing other countries freedom, just like the Peace of Westphalia did to other people of Europe, have other people of the world, which they call countries, which I've told you, the countries in Europe, most of them fought for them. The countries in Africa and others were artificial boundaries. At least you allow them to make decisions that will benefit their people. And with this, we shall be bringing today's lecture to an end. But before we do, we have to ask you again to please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our program, comment, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and other social media platforms, and share. Remember, Nkola Mahadum is an university, and we package lectures and present them from Biafran and African perspectives. And all Africans must wake up to dismantle all the colonial boundaries in Africa. Because if we Africans cannot go to Europe and say, you are one country, you are one country, why should we continue to allow that to be in our land? And with this, we shall bring it to this lecture. And thank you very much for joining me, and have a good day. Thank you.